Hey everyone, my name is Candis Dyer and this is Canna Corner. We are broadcasted every Monday live on the Candis Dyer Facebook page, Central Standard Time. And we are also replayed on Wednesdays on WJAE 420 radio at 2 o'clock and KM 420 radio on Sundays at 2. So you can catch it at all those places. Plus, I normally get the new shows uploaded to my YouTube channel, Canna Corner. That way y'all can watch it later if you don't catch it the live over there. So I normally get it uploaded that day. So it'll be on tonight. So you can go over there too and click the bell over here on this chat so that you get notified every time it goes live. I am putting the group in the comments for the, oh, that's not it. For joining and making your own group in your area. I think that one's it. For the In Prohibition Walk, which is what we're fixing to be talking about. First, I wanted to give a huge shout out to our sponsors. We have GoGreenBotanicals.com. You can find all the best CBD products over there in the New Bronzeville's area. And then WJAE, of course, KM420radio.com. And then we got Roach and Bud, our newest back there. We give y'all a huge shout out because y'all make all this possible and y'all support and make sure that we can spread all this, because education is the key, y'all. Spread all this information we can. So heck yeah. Fixing to bring Miss Kerry in. Thank you again to all our sponsors. And here we go. Without further ado, Miss Kerry Cannon.
Hey, Candice.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Trying to stay cool in this heat over here in Texas. It's like hot as hell.
Send some of your heat to the Pacific Northwest. I am still like rocking a hoodie and boots.
I'll send it all over there.
Yay.
I do not like the heat. I don't do well in the heat. But no, Kerry. So this lady right here is an amazing warrior woman activist. How long have you been doing what you're doing?
Thank you. Since about 2013, when I got my medical marijuana card in California, got my very first recommendation at Venice Beach. That was pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
And it started helping me much more than all the prescriptions the doctors had me on and were throwing at me. I had a back injury from a warehouse job. And then I started learning more and more about it. And you start realizing they lied to us. And then it's like you want to go preach the gospel of cannabis to everybody.
Yes, exactly. It just pisses you off and lights a fire under your ass.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how they told us that it was so bad for us. And then turns out the medical pharma is what's bad for us. We should have just kept cannabis all along.
Totally. And I don't think a lot of people realize like Big Pharma had a big hand in cannabis prohibition as well.
Right. Definitely. I always say they're like playing chess, the government and everything. When we pass bills, they're thinking like 10 moves ahead. So
right.
To us, it looks like, oh, cannabis is bad. It's making people die. It's causing all this crime. We're being told all this stuff, right? And then, but to them, they're thinking long term. And we're like, yeah, we should pass that bill because that's, of course, not good. Like, we don't want that. But turns out that when you give them a little bit of your rights, you're thinking they're going to use it for good, but they're not. They're going to find a way to get in there and make something bad out of it so they can make more money.
Absolutely. You give them an inch, they take a mile. They have their stakeholders, which quite often are, big heads of corporations and connected people. And they always have an agenda,
Exactly.
even if it's your health. It's like there's no ends to the greed.
I always say be very careful when they say it's for your safety. Anytime they say that to me, I'm thinking, okay, what are you up to? They
Totally.
don't give a shit about your safety. It's for their pocket, their money.
Right. It's not for you, it's for them, and it's for a reason, usually other than what they say.
Exactly. So I know that you're big with freelance lore. You help get a lot of cannabis prisoners out, whether it be organizing stuff to get letter writing campaigns. And why don't you tell the audience a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't I've helped with lots of efforts to free people. Sometimes, like, I was leading the effort for Lance Glore through like the photos and phone calls to the White House and whatnot. Um, I helped Sherry Sicard a whole lot with Craig Cecil, who I got to meet when he came up here. That was really, really awesome.
Yeah, Craig is
And
great. I love him.
and I think there needs to be a lot of yeah, he's awesome. He's wonderful. He's got a good heart, full of integrity, and he has a lot to teach people. And I hope when he does speak on certain things, people will really listen.
Amen to that. Yeah,
'Cause
he went through a shitload of stuff and he was in there 19 years.
Right, 19 years, and then even after he got out, he went through some stuff too,
Right.
and kind of saw some. Well, I'll let him tell his story when he's ready one day.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
interesting. It will be eye opening to people.
we love
Um,
Craig.
but yeah, back to the activism part. I helped Peggy and Glenn Keeling in Ohio avoid going to prison for gifting another patient 3 grams of cannabis oil. Glenn was running for mayor, so was politically motivated, exactly what's happening to Aaron and Adela Wisdom in Missouri.
Right. And when is her, do you know? I'm sorry, you might know, I'm pretty sure you do. Her next court date?
Trial scheduled to begin in July. I forget the exact day, but I think maybe the 11th or 12th.
I'll make sure after the show. I know she made a post about it. I'll go find that post and I'll put the link in the comments of our chat so people can find it. But yeah, y'all, it's in July, which is why she can't make it to the end prohibition march. But of course, we're doing this for you, Adela Wisdom, and for all the people out there that are having to break the law just to live, basically.
Right. And for future generations, so they don't have to keep going through this stuff.
Exactly.
But if anybody listening doesn't happen to check back the comments, they can check out adelawisdom.com for more information, the petition, see some of her activism. She's been, she was like pretty much my inspiration for starting to go the prisoner out with my activism.
Yeah, she's great. I love her. Yeah. I've been following her for a while too. And I don't get a lot of chance to talk to y'all a lot because I got a lot going on. Hopefully now I've got a little bit less on my plate. So that'll be good. But
that's good.
I'm always watching y'all and yes, there's so many great, amazing cannabis people out there. And I learn from every one of you. And I appreciate all of you.
Oh, we appreciate you too. And the learning part, I think that's the part that sometimes a lot of people don't really do. I don't know how to say this without making it sound wrong, but the teaching part about doing your activism, sharing what what works, and just trying different ideas. I think that's all important.
Yes, it definitely, because this is a new thing. There's not a set way on how to do this.
Not at all.
We're paving the way. So yeah, we might make some mistakes along the way, but our intention's there. And if you see something that I'm doing that you think you know a better way, hit me up. Tell me, hey, that'll be easier to do it like this. And hell yeah, I'm learning new every day. So
Right. And I think we also shouldn't discount different ideas, like with the photos. I got mass hate for that. People telling me, stop, it's a waste of time. It's not going to do any good.
right. Yeah, it did good, and it was proven. So it doesn't matter
Right.
what they think.
And anybody can still, please steal my ideas. Oftentimes people think like, oh, well, you're the person who does this. Here's something else. But this is volunteer work and I don't have a lot of free time on my hands either.
Right, right. Yeah, if y'all want to help Kerry and what she's doing and help get some of these people, no one should be in prison for a plant. So
Absolutely
that's what
not.
she does. She works hard, and then there's letter writing campaigns. You can write a prisoner and all kinds of stuff going on to help. Yeah, just hit her up if you're interested in helping her on her Facebook, Kerry Cannon. Do you have anywhere else they can get a hold of you?
I also have Instagram, but I kind of keep that less stressful and I
Right.
don't do a whole lot of activism on there. I will do some, but yeah, I do have my Instagram. That's casey.cush.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Yeah, so y'all can go find her over there.
And the name Casey Cush was when I started my activism, although I was in Southern California where medical was legal. I lived in an area that was in the process of banning all of the dispensaries, and there wasn't mass acceptance in the area where I was at for cannabis, medical or otherwise. So I kind of had to play it careful to protect my children and not have it get back to like their teachers, their principals, whatever, even my parents, because I didn't want, I knew I knew what I needed to do, but I didn't have the strength at the time to do that, and also battle with my family and whoever else is gonna, put backlash on my children for what their mom is doing.
Exactly. It's a very scary thing. I really understand where your heart is on that. Oh, it's very scary to, oh my God, maybe the teacher's going to smell it on the kid when they go to school, and I'm going to get CPS coming to my house, and that they're all good for you taking like 3 Xanax a day or Oxycontin, but God forbid you smoke a joint. Like,
and all it takes is somebody accusing you and they act like it's absolute proof. There was one time somebody had called the local sheriff's office where I was at, and I was still in California, and made an accusation about me.
wow.
Giving it to my children. And I wasn't home at the time, but I lived in a little like triplex.
Right.
And I got home and my neighbor's like, why were the cops here to see you? And this guy was like the biggest jokester ever. I didn't take him seriously. I was like, oh, Jeff, I don't know what you're talking about. This isn't funny.
Right.
And he goes, no, there was a helicopter flying above. There was like 2 unmarked cars, 3 marked cars, a cop at every window and your door with their guns drawn. What did you do? And I was like, still didn't take him seriously. And he goes, I am not fucking kidding. And I'm like, okay.
Oh my God.
So based on an accusation, they came for me.
But they can send a helicopter over your house for weed.
Right. And, so after that, I went to my parents' house and told my mom what, I don't know what's going on, but I need to call, and something happens, and watch the kids while I'm gone, please. And she said, okay. And I called, and the first question was, do you have your recommend? And I was like, yes, I do. And then it wasn't even asking me questions. It was pretty much accusations and, slandering me, calling me a piece of shit mom and all this stuff by this officer who heard a one-sided story and didn't bother to get the other side.
They always say that we're innocent until proven guilty, but that is such a load of shit. Like,
right.
And then guilty until you prove your own self innocent, because they don't care about proving you innocent. They just want to put you in jail.
Right. They're just like, yep, make an example out of this one. And, in the area I was at, there was no activism going on. I pretty much was, for the most part, the only one doing it. I had a few people who would join me here and there, but I protested on my own. There was a newspaper article about it.
That is awesome. That takes guts.
It does, but it was the right, it was the right thing to do. I was petitioning for CCHI, which is the California Cannabis Hemp Initiative, which was based on what Jack Hare saw legalization as. We would
Right.
have had like 99 plants per person, which, that would give you enough to make your own RSO and
Right.
juice and live a healthy lifestyle. That would have been awesome.
That would have been. Hell yeah. Well, man, you just do so much. And I wanted to, applaud you for that. Thank you so much. And I learned from you and everybody out there. Y'all all rock. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about the in prohibition walk we got going on. I know a lot of people have been asking me about it. And I'm going to go ahead and let you explain what it is and how they can get a hold of you if they want to get one in their area going.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we had 420 this year, and of course there was lots of festivities around. I didn't participate in any, but which is not, quite uncommon for me. I kind of do my thing and kind of live under a rock, and I just kind of work and take care of my kid and do my activism and stuff. But a lot of people, I'll say freelance galore, or free, justice for Aaron and Adela, or for a minute there when I was focusing on Jonathan Wall, free Jonathan Wall, I'll have people come and say, free them all. And I'm, yes, when I say free one person, I'm not saying just that one person deserves freedom.
Obviously. But we're putting a face to that prisoner. You're telling their story. You're using them to highlight and educate people on why they shouldn't be there by using their story. Each one of them, those prisoners, are a dad or a brother or a sister or a mother. And in order to change people's minds on a subject like this, they have to be able to relate. And so taking an individual and telling their story helps tremendously.
Absolutely. And these stories they seem crazy. They seem like it would be a movie, not true. But it is true, and it does happen, and people need to know this.
Yeah, people are like all the time, it's legal there. I don't even know, it's legal. Even if it's legal,
right?
It's not legal if the cops decide they want to get you. It's not.
Right. And it's still federally illegal everywhere. So, all they have to do is pull Fed law on you, and boom, there you go. None of us are really safe ever. So anyhow, after talking with someone, and they asked me, can you come up with a way to help me and my friend who her husband's incarcerated, and I never got a name for him. Hopefully one day I will. So I just thought, 710's coming up. Why don't, it's still like a stoner holiday, but it's not, as big as 420. And I thought, well, why not, protest worldwide? And we still have treaties too that they use as an excuse to keep federal prohibition alive.
Right. It's the biggest lie in the world, how the war on drugs. Like,
absolutely.
It was all about money and racism and power and greed and corporations, and it needs to stop. And so I just think it's amazing to have a protest on this day. And when you hit me up and you were like, hey, you want to do one in your area? I was like, heck yeah, I need to get back out there, because it's been a minute since I've been on the street. And I love it. I love getting out there with my signs and
that's that's my favorite thing, is hitting the pavement and doing real grassroots activism and talking to strangers and whatnot.
It helps keep that fire going in you, because it gets hard to keep going.
It really does. And social media is a great tool, and we can use it a lot for activism. I have but it's just one tool, but it's a great way we can all organize and come together. We all, we all have personal power, and when we come together, it's multiplied.
Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you know of any of the cities so far that are having walks?
So far, you.
Okay. So DFW area?
Right. And I need to plan one. I'll do it either in Everett, which is like the nearest major city to me, or Lake Stevens, which is a kind of it's bigger than where I'm at, but not huge. It just kind of depends. With recent health issues, I haven't been able to be
Right.
quite as proactive, messaging people and rallying the troops. But yeah, hopefully I can get back to that this week.
You're doing great. You got to take care of
Thank
your
you.
health, and I appreciate you so much. I know you haven't been feeling good. For you to even come on here today, I know how hard it is to get on there on camera when you're not feeling good.
Yeah, at the same time though, these little things help you push through,
Right. Get
when
you
you're
over your
when you're working on something bigger than yourself.
right. Helping others helps you
Right. You help yourself by helping others all the time.
for sure. So if somebody is in a city and they're like, hey, this sounds great. Well, let's talk about how easy this is first, because a lot of people get intimidated by, oh no, I don't know if I can be head over creating a walk. Let's
Right.
talk
And
about
it's
what
so
a
easy.
is and how easy it is.
Super easy. I'd say step 1, pick a time and place. Step
Yep.
2, invite people, make an event on Facebook, spread the word. Step 3, you could do, a pre-protest party, like making signs, which is always a blast and so much fun.
Yes, and you get to know the people you're going to be with, and it's a great way to get together and have some fun. And making signs, that's one thing you really need to do. You want people to know why you're there. So
Right.
very easy, simple. I know people are like, oh wow, I'm not an artist. You just put words on cardboard. You don't have to be fancy, and
Yep.
get some friends together. Everybody has at least 2 friends that are pro cannabis that don't mind getting out there and having some fun on the side of the road.
Right. And it doesn't have to be a huge major thing. If you just get a few people together, that's awesome. And, people passing by who are curious are going to stop and ask questions, or you might just have strangers join you. I join people's protests all the time.
Right. Yeah. And if you build it, they will come. And we're
Right.
gonna help let the world know, Kerry and I, that you're having that walk and that you're gonna be at that place at that time on that city on that day. So we'll help you.
Totally. And we have the event page on Facebook. It's Worldwide 710. One thing I would like to do to kind of expand on this is get some flyers put together, some graphics or whatnot. We can even just share on Facebook and maybe print them if anybody wants to.
Yes,
Where it
that
gives
would be
you
great.
Phone numbers. You could call your state representatives, your federal representatives, and we're not asking them, please give us some of our rights, please give us Prohibition 2.0. This is about really standing in our power and making them represent us and give us what we deserve, which would never should have been taken from we the people in the first place.
Right.
They need to completely remove cannabis, marijuana, however they, any word play on it from the CSA, the Controlled Substances Act.
For sure.
It's, it is not deadly, it is not dangerous like heroin or whatever they have it with. There is medicinal value. They say they don't have enough research. It's the most researched plant on the planet.
Exactly. It's they make more money putting people in prison over it and playing this drug war thing than they would if it would be legal, which is what it's more money for them. Because if it was legal, there would be more money, more taxes, but it wouldn't go into their pockets. So,
right. And we need them to repeal all cannabis laws.
Yes. And write your senators, y'all. Go to Who Represents Me. I think it's .org or .gov. I'm not sure which. But you can put your city and your state, and you can write your representatives in your area and be like, hey, it's time. We need this federally legal. And that's what we're asking right now when we say end prohibition. We want them to just make it legal across the board.
Repeal all those laws. A couple of years ago, I was Oh my goodness, my brain just goes blank sometimes. I'm sorry. I
No,
was
you're
hoping
good.
Tiffany Ann in Ohio, who's been trying to, get autism added onto as a qualifying condition for cannabis in Ohio.
Right.
And she connected me with one of her state representatives, Juanita Brent's office, who's been awesome in helping her with this fight. And I spoke a few times with one of her staff members, and I just asked him, like, people reaching out, does it help? Because a lot of people think they don't care what we say, it doesn't matter. I'm not gonna make a call. I'm not gonna write an email.
Right.
And he said, absolutely. They need that feedback. If they don't hear from you, they think you're agreeing with everything they're doing.
Exactly. And flooding their office with it is the key. Like, and I love what you do,
Totally.
how you say, hey, everybody at this time, call this number with this saying, and everybody calls all at once. And that really sends a message because it's not just you that want it, it's all of these people, and they will listen.
They will. And that's one thing I asked him, like, is there, does email or phone calls, which are received better, which have the most impact? And he said, ring those phones off the hook.
Awesome. Yes. So
It's easy
y'all
to
do
ignore an email or just check it later, but you can't ignore that ringing phone, and the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
right. And I hear all the time because we know that cannabis patients, a lot of us have sicknesses. A lot of them can't get out on the street in the heat and do what we do. And they're always asking, well, what can I do to help? And that's it. Make phone calls, write letters, arrest
Right.
a prisoner, and just make them know that they're loved and that people are out here fighting for them.
Totally.
Well,
Totally.
heck yeah. So if y'all are interested in this and you're like, oh, okay, that's easy enough, I can do that. Pick a busy spot on the street, couple hours, get some friends together, make some signs. And if you are interested in setting one up in your area, please hit up Kerry Cannon on Facebook, or I put the group, the In Prohibition group, in the chat too as well.
Oh, awesome. And people who live in a quote unquote legal state, we still have work to do. I'm in Washington state where, everyone says, but it's legal.
Right.
But it's not. We still have Lance Glore, who's, in federal prison for 10 years for illegal medical marijuana right here in the state. We still have people who CPS will take their kids away and their medical patients.
And lose jobs over it.
Right. Like my job, I know they're dying to test me. Sometimes I feel like maybe I should give them a reason to, because I could actually pass right now.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't been partaking, and but I had a young coworker when I first started working there, this really good kid who was, starting out his work life. He was like 19, or no, he was 21 years old, one of his first jobs, and he got popped with a drug test and got fired over it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's legal, so you should
Right.
be able to do that. And then another problem is, like, there's a Safe Banking Act out right now. Like, those cannabis dispensaries in those legal places, they have to store their cash because they can't use a credit machine in some places. Some places are working on this. I believe Michigan, Trish said that they were working on that. But in a lot of places, they can't put their cash anywhere, and they can't have a gun. So they're sitting on large amounts of cash, and they can't defend themselves. And
not at all. I worked for a producer processor a few years ago, and there was one day where I was had to make several deliveries to dispensaries. So I had approximately 14 pounds on me at the start of the day. And then at the end of the day, I also had after all the deliveries, I had a vendor day to go set up. So we had sample, stuff for them too, for their sale. So I had like 14 pounds. And at the end of the day, I had thousands of dollars of cash on me.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't feel very good.
No, nowhere to put it, no way to defend yourself if someone decides to rob you. But it's legal. Like,
Right.
It's not, y'all. We still have a lot of work to do. And that is a major reason she's wanting to start this protest, to let people know that and raise our voice and let it be heard that we want this done and we want to change. And if you are in the DFW area, we are having a walk. I call the local smoke shop that we love, Hempies in Arlington. And I asked them, hey, can we use your sidewalk? And they were like, hell yeah, you let me know sooner. I'll make some hot dogs and put some balloons out. So that's how easy it was. You don't need a smoke shop though.
Right
You can just go on the side of any street.
No, you don't. I mean, my protests that I've organized, like I used to do them a lot in front of town hall back in Apple Valley, California.
Right.
We did some at the courthouse in the neighboring city of Victorville. I mean, you can do it anywhere. I mean, I used to stand on a corner by a Lowe's with a big old marijuana safer than alcohol sign.
Right. Heck yeah.
So,
Anywhere, any busy intersection, preferably somewhere people can park, because a lot of people are going to park and come ask what you're about. And that's where it helps, like keep that fire lit under your ass, because you know that what you're doing is helping people, because they'll come up to you and they'll be like, yeah, dude, we do need this. And they'll tell their stories and everything. So preferably a place that people can come park and come see you.
absolutely. And even if people come up who don't agree, never underestimate the power of planting a seed.
Right. And people,
You have to realize people have been conditioned to think certain ways, and we've made a lot of progress, but there are still people who are stuck in that mindset. But once they hear you say it, next time they hear somebody say the same sentiment, it's gonna spark something in their brain.
right. And then the honks too. So they're like, wow, all these people are for cannabis, because not a lot of people talk about it, because it's scary to come out and
right,
like CPS and everything, and they're scared that the sheriff's office is gonna put a target on their back, so they don't want to say they smoke. But this is a way they can do it quickly with their car horn, and it's amazing how many people will honk.
totally. And how many people are really on board? And sometimes people you would never even imagine. You might look at that person and be like, yeah, there's no way, no how. And they might, that might be the person who comes in like, can I join you? You got a spare sign I can hold.
Right. Well, heck yeah. Y'all, if you are in the DFW area, Hempies, Arlington, you can hit me up on Facebook. You can find me at Canna Corner 20 at gmail.com. We've got Roach and Bud. KM420 Radio presents the In Prohibition Worldwide 710 Walk. And so if you are in the DFW area, come join us. Come out there, see us, have some hot dogs, some balloons, meet Pothead. He's going to be out there. We're going to give him a sign, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Nice. Right on. And, I want people to realize too, their power. Stand in your power. We do not need to take our power back. It's not to be given away. Reclaim it, stand in it. And, this can go for any injustice you think is wrong. You stand up and you say no. And you encourage other people to do the same. And we can totally end prohibition this way. We can end many injustices this way. We do not need to pass this down to future generations. How many more generations, how many babies born this year at the rate we're going are going to end up in prison for a medicinal plant? It's fucking madness, and we need to stop it.
Exactly. Yeah, nobody should be there. This is 2022. Cannabis is supposedly legal, so why are we even worried about letting these people that were busted for cannabis out? It was a victimless crime in the first place. It didn't hurt anybody, but it didn't even hurt them, because it's a medicine. So
absolutely,
just so ridiculous, man.
Totally ridiculous. I mean, can you imagine somebody be like, you're growing too many tomatoes?
Yeah.
That's illegal, or you don't have a license to grow these tomatoes, like all
Exactly.
these all these ridiculous things. It is just it's a plant.
Yep. Grow your own. Quit making it to where I'm all for medical cannabis, but this is my thing with that. Okay. You, if you get a medical card, you have to pay for your medical card. You have to pay the doctor. So then Big Pharma's making money again, and Big Pharma's made enough money off me. And then everything gets priced so high where not everybody has access to it. Not everybody can do that. And this is a plant that they should be able to grow in their own house. It's never hurt anybody. And so, yes, it's medicine, but we don't want to put all these regulations on everything because like I said, 10 moves ahead, we see, yeah, we don't want kids to get a hold of weed because that's what they'll tell you. Kids are going to get a hold of it. And yeah, that sounds, oh, we don't want kids to get a hold of it. But wait, what about the kid with autism or cancer or whatnot? And that kid needs it. Like, we're not saying oak, but the oil, it stops seizures. So now you've created this bill that says this, when obviously nobody is going to give their kids weed unless they needed it medically. But now we got this bill that's messed everything up so you got to really watch out for these regulations that you're putting on that. And yes, of course, we want the sick and people with PTSD to have medicine, but we want everybody who needs it to have access and to be able to grow their own if they so choose.
Absolutely. And quite often the people who are the sickest are the poorest because they can't work.
Exactly.
They're not able to generate income. So,
and insurance isn't going to help you cover it because it's not federally legal yet.
And if you have to purchase a card to legally be a patient, then you're buying a privilege. It's not your right. And it is your right. You have the rights to what? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
It can't hurt anybody.
If cannabis is improving your quality of life. Right. So when you're saying, when people are like, well, yeah, you have to buy a card, even if someone says it's just $50, to them, it might not be $50. To other people, that's a hell of a lot of money.
Right. And it's not just that, though, because, okay, say Arkansas in Farrah's case, she lives an hour away. So it's the card, it's the doctor, it's the medicine itself at the dispensary, and then she's got to drive an hour to go get it.
Wow.
So that's not just $50. The average
person
cannot afford that.
Right. Yeah. And then like you mentioned, even you need the quality, you need to be able to grow your own. And gardening is therapeutic.
Yes.
If nobody has, I've grown a lot of different plants, vegetables and flowers and whatnot. A few years ago, I was growing professionally, and it's growing a cannabis plant. It's a beautiful experience. I mean, she's a teacher, and she, if you just listen to her, even when she's growing these little babies and you're taking care of them, she will teach you if you're willing to listen.
Exactly, man. It's so great to be able to be a part of knowing what's in your medicine, healing yourself, healing others, because you'll have help somebody too if they can't afford it or if they don't know how to grow it. You can help them grow. So it's just a great thing all the way around, to be able to grow your own, I think.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And when my youngest was probably about 10 years old, maybe 11, I was growing my medicine in my backyard, right near my corn and my sunflowers and my cucumbers. And he would go up there and he would, pick fresh veggies off, the vine or whatnot, and eat it. And to him, that was mommy's medicine tree.
Right. Yeah.
It was not a big deal.
We got to teach our kids, it's a medicine. It was before, y'all. It was something that the indigenous people used. It was something that everybody used. It was in doctors' bags. And then one day they just said, nope, no more.
Right. And that's when the Rockefeller medicine model that we're living under now.
Yep. They said you can make your own. I'm going to make it out of the same substances we're making illegal for you. And I'm going to sell you this pill that isn't really going to help you. It's going to cause 7 other different side effects.
But we can sell you more pills for the side effects.
Yes. And it's a big money system. That's all it is. It's all greed and money and corporations. And it's never hurt anybody. It's not dangerous. We don't need to regulate it all the time. Like,
right. And one other point I was going to bring up about having worked in the industry is, I became quite familiar with, the system's rules, around cannabis and how expensive it was. And, it's a business, and businesses aren't people. They run to make profit.
right.
And I'm not saying this to slander the people I worked for, because they are still awesome people. I still keep in touch with them. They've always been wonderful to me. But nobody's in business just to pay out of pocket to sustain it or to keep it going. It's not an easy market to be in.
Right.
And when you're, sometimes it's even hard for people to grow organic in that kind of situation, because if all of your plants are covered in mites, what are you going to do? Are you going to take a loss of all your crop?
Right.
Or are you going to spray it? So it's not always the healthiest either.
Yeah, you don't know what, I mean, they say it's organic and they say, this or that, but you don't really know where it's coming from, and they are in there to make money. And it's just so much better if you can grow it yourself. That way,
Right.
what's in it, what helps you, and it helps you, like you said, therapeutically growing it to begin with. If people want to, you could still have dispensaries, but they should have that option.
Right. And we don't have any home grow rights for all in Washington state. And there's been activists here that have tried for a few years, and I've helped how I could in their movement. And one of the things that it seemed like the state was concerned about is, well, if we give everybody the right to grow their own, then everyone's going to do that, and no one will buy from the dispensary.
Yeah,
but I mean,
they want the money. Like, they're like, yeah,
right.
taxes, but not everybody's going to grow.
Exactly. Like, look at the supermarkets. Everybody can grow corn. Everybody can grow tomatoes and lettuce and whatnot.
It's still easier to go to the store and get it.
Right. Most people do not grow their own stuff. Most people are intimidated about growing cannabis, which I'd like to tell everybody it's a weed. It is very easy to grow. It is a weed. Do not be intimidated. If you know some grower who was like, oh, nobody can do this, it takes a special kind of person. No, it takes you. You can do it.
Yeah, you definitely can. It is very easy. And yes, you're right. Not everybody is going to go start growing their own. But for those that want to and want that option, they should be able to.
Absolutely. Especially, people who really need to make sure it's grown 100% organically.
Right. I wanted to take a minute and shout out to everybody right now. Lonnie is on. Sal G. Hey, nice to meet you. He called me earlier asking how to get on. He's got a bill, some HB, something that's going through that he wants to help with. I told him to give me a call tomorrow and we talk about how I could help. I don't know a lot about it yet. So
is that in Texas?
I'm not sure. Sal, are you in Texas? Are you still here? Brandy, hey love, KM420 is in the house with Farah.
Hey ladies.
I can't wait to see y'all on the walk. So heck yeah, y'all. If y'all want to start a walk in your area, you got a group of friends, talk to your friends first, see if they'd be interested. And if they are, call Kerry, message her on Facebook, don't call her. And let her know that you're interested, and she'll set you up with this group. I also put the group in the chat too, so that people can go find it. If you have any questions, a lot of people are there. They'll help answer your questions and show you how to make this walk and do it.
And this walk is about us all, so it's not about supporting something I'm putting together or whatnot. It's about supporting the real end of cannabis prohibition, not legalization 2.0 that is still putting people in prison, that is still ruining lives, that is still allowing people to have to, risk losing their job if they partake, and all the other ugly, horrible things that prohibition comes with. It's barbaric. It's about time it all ends.
For sure, for sure. Well, Kerry, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you would like to tell people about?
I'd like to encourage everybody to go to adelawisdom.com, ADELA wisdom, WISDOM.com. She has a petition there, and if everybody could take a minute to sign it and share it, that would be awesome. If you're not real familiar with her story, she has a tab that shares her story about, being raided once and then twice, and then they've been going through the prosecution for about 2 years now. And did you see the video where the officer asked the prosecutor if he's going to charge them for these and I quote, non-illegal plants?
Oh wow, no, I didn't see that one. I saw the raid, the cam, I guess.
Okay.
I haven't seen the new. What's going on with that?
Well, this is like from their video, from law enforcement's video.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
Yes, I know that there's a lot of people who just take a plea, and that's the problem. And we keep taking these pleas, and it's so hard to fight it out. And she is choosing to fight. So what area is she in again?
She's in Callaway County, Missouri.
Okay. So if y'all are in the Missouri area, she really needs people in her court room. If the more people that are in there, we're keeping them held accountable to not cheat and break the law. We want as many bodies in that courtroom as possible. So after you go and look that up, and I'll be posting it here what day that is. I feel bad that I didn't go look.
Okay. But, yeah, me too. I'm sorry.
We'll get as many people out there as we can. I know it's in July, but I just don't know the day. And I will make sure I put it and make a post about it too on the Candis Dyer Facebook page so people can find it.
Awesome. Thank you. And, anybody who's able to take a road trip, that would be an awesome road trip. And, this Adela she's a freaking warrior. She has been standing strong with everything they're throwing at her. Her and her husband are not only being prosecuted, they've been publicly persecuted.
Right.
The way they wrote the headlines after the arrest, they made them sound like they were like
kingpins
manufacturing meth or something horrible. They didn't even, it was a very misleading headline.
And there was only like a few little plants that weren't even flowering for CBD.
It's wild in Missouri. So you have wild hemp plants that pop up everywhere. The state has a law that says, wild hemp discovered on your property must be destroyed.
And they sent planes and everything else out to attack them over it. It was
the National Guard helicopter.
The most hugest waste of freaking taxpayers' money ever for a few little CBD plants like hemp wild.
Oh my goodness.
It's ridiculous.
Right. It's got to be over $1 million already.
And then they're just poor Adela. People don't have the money for this crap. And she's having to drive back and forth to this court. And what do? They postpone it. They say, oh, not today. Next 2 months, you got to drive back out here, take another day off work. Most people can't afford to fight this. So when somebody can, back them, y'all. Stand behind them because it's not easy.
Absolutely. It's not easy. And I can understand why sometimes people take pleas. It's, this is an awful lot of stress.
Yes, it is.
And it's heartbreaking. I remember talking to Peggy and Glenn on the phone multiple times when they were going through it. And man,
yeah, they were scared to death. And
they were terrified.
He want to be separated from his family and his kids. And and it was just all crazy. And he was
It was
scared to
all
death. And all he did was use some cannabis and give some to a friend. Like, that was crazy.
totally crazy. And a few days before the trial, it was late one night, and Peggy's daughter messaged me on Facebook. She couldn't sleep, and so I ended up talking to her on the phone. And she was just so worried that her mom and her stepdad, who Glenn's basically her dad, he's just not biological, but you don't need to be biological to be dad, he's her dad.
Right.
And she was thinking about her parents and what's going to happen to her mom if she doesn't get her medication she needs while she's in prison, because it's too expensive, and what's going to happen to her baby niece. And no teenage kid who's getting ready to start their school year should be having to worry about, is my family going to be ripped apart? Are my parents going to prison?
Exactly. In places it's so-called legal,
Right.
like Missouri. Like, didn't they like legalize it?
They legalized medical, and they have, and hemp is nationwide legal.
Right.
But when somebody is rocking the boat and they feel like a threat to the system, especially if they're running for office and can possibly gain the power to make changes they don't want to see, then they will find a reason and come after that person and make them look bad. And it's unfortunate how many people believe if somebody is arrested that it's because they must be guilty.
Right. Yeah.
Or how many people, if they read a headline, okay, this must be true.
Yep. And that's it. And they don't realize the news media, there's like 3 and they're all paid the same people.
Right.
They all
Totally.
have the same agenda. And
Mhm.
and anything the news tells you, make sure you go and look it up for yourself, please.
Right.
Don't just listen blindly to what they say, because I've seen them blatantly lie so many times.
Oh, absolutely. Do you remember a few years back when they were like saying somewhere in the Middle East, like some bombings were going on, and then people called them out like, hey, that's a shooting range actually in Kentucky, and they had to like admit it?
It's ridiculous. It's
Totally
crazy, man. I see it time and time again.
And one thing they never do is share stories of like, look what these people who got together and stood up for this cause, look what they accomplished. They will never tell you stories about how we, the people standing in our power,
Only stories that are going to
accomplished
divide
something.
you,
Right.
because they don't want us to get together.
Nope. And they don't want you to know that you have personal power.
Yep.
And they don't want you to know it just takes a small group of dedicated people to make change. It's the only thing that ever has.
For sure. Well, thank you so much, Kerry, for coming on here. I know you're sick. We're coming up on an hour, so I'm going to go ahead.
That went quick.
I know, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, of course. And you have a total open invitation. And if anybody, I'm giving this invitation to anybody that creates a walk for this protest. If you would like to come on the show and tell people about the walk that's going on in your area, the protest that's going on in your area that you're going to set up, you got an open invitation. We'll get you on. So hit me up. I will talk to you later, Kerry. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Candice. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And don't forget to check out the Facebook group Worldwide 710.
Yes. Awesome. Bye, love.
Bye.
Hell yeah, y'all. That's Kerry Cannon. She's amazing. She's got a great heart, and she's been working so hard for so many people, and she's got a lot of problems with her health and stuff on her own. So please go look her up on Facebook, Kerry Cannon. That's KerryCannon. And if you want to start a worldwide 710 walk to end cannabis prohibition in your area, please go to the Facebook group that I've posted. And I'm also going to put it on the page, the Candis Dyer Facebook page. So you can go check it out over there too. Thank you all so much for joining me. Please like and share if you like what we're doing. And if you would like to come on Canna Corner, you got a story or something that is going on in your area that you want to promote, hit me up on cannacorner20@gmail.com. Much love and respect to everybody. Peace.